Hey guys, welcome back for another episode here. We are in the middle of December, and this is either an amazing time for so many people or you are in chaos. And today we're going to talk about how to survive the holidays without losing your mind. And this episode topic came to me as I was having a conversation with a client of mine this morning that was talking about how busy she is and that she's so frustrated and overwhelmed and stressed because she's very busy with her business, with her family business, but now she's required to host family for Thanksgiving and then lots of hosting and things for Christmas over the next month. And so, and she's like, I want to be alone. I'm overwhelmed. I'm already stressed and I just want to be alone. So there's a couple of things that happen during the holidays. You can either be really excited to be spending time with family and you love the shopping, you love the gifting, you love the spending time with the family, which is more important than the gifting. It's a great time. It's a joyful time for you. It's a magical time for many people. But then there's also the part where it can be lonely for people. Maybe you lost a loved one and this is your first, second, or third year without your loved one. And that can be really difficult to navigate as well. But the one thing that I do want to say about that, because I know what this feels like, I do want to give you permission to be happy and enjoy the time because your loved ones that are gone, they would want that for you. They want you to be able to enjoy your time again. And I get it, like that aching spot, it's there and it's okay to miss them, but also give yourself permission to enjoy the holidays and do things that you love because they would want that for you. And then there's the expectations of what is expected of you during the holidays. So it's either really magical or it's completely overwhelming. And we're going to talk about how do you manage that? It's not just about surviving it, but how do you manage it without losing yourself and feeling like you are completely losing yourself and you're losing your peace and your sanity. There's emotional triggers that come with things, whether it is with family, depending on the dynamic, or there's triggers with food. And all of this can create this hormone chaos and lead you into stress eating. And the other thing is the pressure to make everything perfect. That is a big thing as well. And so this episode, it's basically a permission slip for you to breathe again, to slow down, and to protect your energy. There are a lot of tools that you can put in place that will help you stay grounded, setting boundaries and supporting your nervous system during this and creating holiday moments that actually feel good and make you want to enjoy the holidays. And if you've ever felt like you're carrying the whole season on your back, then this one is for you because there is so much pressure, especially in America. There is so much pressure. If you're not grounded and you don't have the right tools in place and your nervous system is already stimulated where you're in the chronic fight flight, it's really difficult to go through the holidays without going into burnout and wanting to just hibernate and not spend time with anybody if you're not grounded and if you do not have the right tools in place to help you with that. So we're going to talk about some things there, but one of the things that I want to really help you understand here is it's okay to slow down. And the second thing I want to say here is your health does not need to take a backseat just because you're busy and there's stress in your life. And if you do believe that, then that's a belief that you've told yourself. But I find this so many times where people say they don't have time. I don't have time to take care of myself. I don't have time to eat healthy. I don't have time to go for a walk. I don't have time to take my supplements. I don't have time. I don't have time. I don't have time. And I want to call your bluff right now because we choose what we make time for. And if you're saying that you're so busy and it's never right and you're waiting for the perfect time, to get to your health, you're never going to do it. It's just not going to happen. So you either are going to make time for your health while you're busy or you're not. And I actually find that the people that are the most successful, that are done with excuses, done waiting for the perfect time, and they say, I'm just going to do it. I will make time because I can't afford not to. And so you decide. You decide. I just want to let you know, like, I'm busy all the time. But even in my busyness all the time, I still make time for me. I make time for downtime. I think about like where my business is at, how many people I'm coaching and helping, and what I'm all doing on the side of that as well. It's more than I've ever done before, but yet I have more time to myself and make more time for me time than I ever have before. And I have a lot more boundaries and parameters around my work hours and the time that I do get to myself. And the reason for that is because I understand now and I realize, and then this is coming from someone that was a workaholic and always felt like if I'm not working, I'm not productive. And I realized that that led me into burnout. And it wasn't until actually I rested and I realized how productive rest actually is. So, rest is productive because when you rest, you heal if you're resting properly. So, rest, you have to make rest a priority. If you make rest a priority, you will be able to heal. So, understand that part. You know what's really interesting is I was on a call with a group of my ladies yesterday, and one of the girls said, all I want to do, like we talk about cycles a lot, but I'm not going to go into that today because that's a whole other podcast and talking about like breaking your cycles, which is crucial if you want to break free from circulating habits that that you feel like you just can never kick. So one of the girls was like, I just want to go watch a Hallmark movie and drink a glass of wine. And I was like, well, why don't you? And she like looked at me. She's like, what do you mean? I was like, you just said you want to go watch a Hallmark movie and have a glass of wine. Why don't you? And she's like, oh, I guess I'm not allowing myself to. And I said, well, I'm giving you permission to do that. Your body is calling for rest. You need rest. But the very next question is what shook the entire group when I asked them this question. I said, what are you doing to enjoy your life? And none of them could answer it. And they realized that they work hard and they're going through life and they're doing all of these things, but they're not actually playing and living their life in joy because all they can think about or all they're programmed to do is work. Now, I'll tell you why this is. So, if you grew up the way that I grew up, which is in the Amish community, and this is where most of these women grew up in, one of the things that we have an advantage on is we know how to work and we know how to get shit done. Like if you ask us to do something and if it's aligned with us and if it's figuring it out and doing it, like we will get it done. That is the Germanic gene in us. That is the structure, order, and discipline that we learned growing up. And it is a good thing. It is a good thing to have that because once we figure out what it is that we need to do, we'll do it. But so that's an advantage. And I will forever be grateful for that. But the other part is many of us did not learn how to actually live life. And what do I mean by living life? Understanding what it means to have joy in what you're doing and just being present. I get all emotional when I think about this because there was a time in my life that I thought that I was living my life. And I thought I was living life, going on trips, doing things. And I had no idea how little I was actually living my life. And the way that I want to explain this is, are you present? Are you paying attention to what is around you? The people that you're talking to, the experiences that you're having, are you creating experiences and actually having joy with it? Are you seeing people? Are you seeing yourself? Do you know yourself? And so I asked them this question yesterday. I said, what are you doing to have joy and live your life? Have fun. Outside of work and your kids and all of that, what do you do for fun? And none of them could answer it. So the homework for her was that she needs to go watch a movie and have a glass of wine if she wants to. And I asked her, I was like, when's the last time a coach allowed or said, hey, gave you permission to go do that? And she's like, never in my entire life. I said, okay, this is my permission. I'm giving you permission to go do that because you need to start living life, actually living life. It took me 2 years after my coach told me this. He's like, Lizzie, you are not living your life, like not truly living life. I was like, what the heck are you talking about? It took me 2 years to understand what he meant. And that was just by me keeping digging in and really getting to know me. Post divorce, I made this decision that I was only going to work on myself. I was going to get to know Lizzie, the Lizzie that I had never met before. And it was a rough, intense, intentional, but also deep personal spiritual experience. And I'm still, learning and growing because you never stop. But because of that, I was able to break through so many things and be where I am at today, where it's beautiful. And I can, with 100% transparency, say that I love life. I truly love life. I know how to live life. And I know how to experience these smallest things that make the biggest impact because of presence and awareness. This is all part of this whole episode of like, what do you do to make sure that you are present during the holiday season? Are you putting high expectations there because of your expectations or because of your family's expectations and it's stressing you out? Do you feel like everything has to be perfect? Do you feel like you have to have a Hallmark holiday Christmas? Is it creating stress? Is it creating anxiety? Or are you able to just be present? And so I want to talk about some things that you can do on a day-to-day basis to support yourself. And first of all, the number one thing is that you need to have boundaries in place. Boundaries for yourself and for your friends and family. What is the expectation? What's the expectation for you? What's the expectation for your friends and your family? Is is it to have peace and calm or is it to have chaos? Nobody wants chaos, right? We want peace and calm and a regulated nervous system. But what are you doing to do that? Are you checking in with yourself? And this stuff is really, really important. It's funny because there's been a couple moments. This is how I know that I've done like the deep, deep work to get to this place of serenity and peace. There was something that happened in business recently, not my business, but just business in general, because I work with people in business as well. And this is in direct sales. And there's a change happening within the company. And one of the girls, she texted me and she's like, how do you feel about it? And I was like, fine. Like, I'm not stressed about it. And she texted me back and she's like, you're so funny. And I was like, why? She's like, you're so calm about it. Like, I want to be that. And I was like, well, what am I going to do? Throw a big fit? It's not like it's going to change anything. Change happens all the time. And when you get to this place in your life where you realize that nothing is forever, most things are temporary. And change is inevitable in this life. So when you embrace change, you make life 10 times easier. I've been working with the same marketing gal for the last 5 years. And we've done a lot of good work together. But the time has come for her to move on. And I knew it was coming like this whole year. Like I knew at some point it was going to come. But when the time was right, the time was right. And the time is now. And so when she told me, I was like, okay, cool. What do we need to do from here? And I had to let her know, like, I'm not upset, like, nothing. Like, I expected this to happen at some point. and, share with her my utmost gratitude for all the things that we have done. But was I freaking out about anything? No. Because when you get to this place in your life where you realize that there are some things that you can change and some things you can't change, and then that change is inevitable, and there's shifts that are going to happen, and you're going to need to change how you do things, who you work with, and all that, you just embrace it. And you just like, okay, what's next? That's the place where you get to this regulated nervous system and you realize like you don't have to be in control of everything. You can't control your whole life. And your goal is not to live a stress-free life, but your goal is to manage your stress wisely and well. And what are some of those things that you can do? Well, one of the top things that I have my clients do, and most people don't know where to start, so I'm going to kind of walk you through what I teach them, is if you have a lot of stress and anxiety circling around in your brain and you're not getting it out at all in a healthy way, it is toxic stuff in your brain, and it's just sitting there. You can't process it properly. And then people are like, oh, but I listen to podcasts, and when I'm driving, I think about all this stuff. And I'm like, yeah, you're thinking about it, but you're not processing it properly and healthy and getting it out. Like it's just sitting there, circling around over and over and over. And that's what creates stress and anxiety. So your homework is that you grab a blank piece of paper or a journal. I like journals. And you do what's called a brain dump. This is what helps you get the stuff out of your head. Now, this is not for anybody else to read. It's not for anybody else, number one. So it's your journal, and you just brain dump things in there. And think of it as processing. So one of the number one things that my clients will say is, well, it doesn't make any sense. And someone told me the other day, like, it just sounds so ugly when you put it on paper. And I really don't want to, I don't want to do that. And I was like, well, then that just means you're suppressing everything. You got stuff in there and you're suppressing every single thing of that if you're not getting it out. And as long as you don't get it out, you will be sick. You will be circling around in cycles that you're not able to break because you're stuffing it down. It's ugly, but you got to get ugly out so beautiful can come in. And so you do what's called a brain dump. And the way that you want to think about this is that you are helping yourself process it better, getting all the gunk out onto a piece of paper, not for anybody else to read. And it allows you to be able to process things better. It helps you regulate your nervous system. I bet most of you, if you would do that, you feel like you lost 50 pounds off of your shoulders. So if you're having stress and anxiety and ADD and ADHD and you can't process things very well, that's your number one thing to start doing, is getting the stuff out so that you're able to process things better. Number two, breathing. You need to be breathing. So if you have a lot of stress and anxiety, especially during the holidays, but even just in general, most people forget to breathe properly. Big belly breath. So an easy way to regulate your nervous system is big belly breath in through your nose, and your belly fills up. And then when you exhale, your belly drops in. And I learned this recently. Inhaling through your nose and exhaling through your nose is actually the most proper to get the most CO2 into your body. Did not know that. And there's other things too that are tied to that, but that's the easiest way for me to explain that. It is amazing how quickly that helps you regulate your nervous system, bringing that cortisol down, getting you out of that fight flight. So if you're not doing any kind of things like that, that's where you need to start. It's so easy. 4 breath in, 6 breath out. Always 2 breath more on the way out than in. That's one easy thing that you can do. And then gratitude. Gratitude is one of the most healing things that you can do. And when you are stressed and full of anxiety and feel like you're losing your mind, it is very difficult to find the gratitude if you don't have your mind trained to think about those things. So if you are not living in gratitude, or that's not something that you're practicing, one of the top things that you can do is When you brain dump, every day you can write down 3 things that you're grateful for, no matter how big, no matter how small. You can write that down. Or when you get up in the morning, the first 3 things you think about is, what am I grateful for? And you start living in gratitude. And when you start living in gratitude, it takes a lot of the anxiety and stress away because you're focusing on the good, not the bad. You can also do it before bed. The other thing that I recently started doing that I think is so incredibly powerful and helpful is setting your intentions. So the same thing that I do for gratitude, when I'm journaling things down in the morning, just emptying my brain out with whatever's going on there. I don't deal with like anxiety or anything like that, but I still process things a lot better when I journal things out. And this is coming from someone that used to not even know how to journal, or I didn't like it until I realized that it doesn't have to make sense and it's more of a brain dump than anything else. But now when I do that in the morning when I have my time, is I do what's called setting my intentions for the day. So I'll just write down like, what are my intentions for today? When you set your intentions and you actually verbalize those or you write them down, the percentage of you completing those intentions and sticking to them rise by a lot. So what are your intentions? I want to ask you, like, what are your intentions for this holiday season? What kind of boundaries do you need to set? What kind of nervous system regulating things do you need to put in place? And what kind of intentions do you have? And just know, like, it's not your job to make your entire family be your entire family's sounding board and happiness. Like, they're responsible for their own happiness. If you're talking about your parents and your grandparents, like, they're responsible, even your spouse, they're responsible for their own happiness. You're not. You take care of you. And if you have kids, take care of your kids. But don't take on this role that even if you're hosting, that you have to do all of these things just to make them happy. You want to make good memories, not stressful memories. So put these things in place. And guys, remember, Christmas comes every year. And this year, you get to choose how you're going to go through it, how you're going to live it, how intentional you are, and whether or not this is the year that you make things different than you have before. Thanks for listening, you guys. I'll see you next week. Thanks for tuning into the Lizzie Ens Show. If you're ready to take the next step to transforming your health and life, visit www.undietyou.com for all my resources and to book your consultation today. Don't forget to subscribe and join me each week for more tips, inspiration, and conversations with phenomenal guests to help you feel your best. See you guys next week.